Hello, Victor. What is the plot for people who don't know out there of your movie Empire V?
Yeah, it's Empire V, or the Fifth Empire, however you want to look at the title. It's a story of a young Moscow kid who is forcibly inducted into a super race of vampires that rule humanity as a biomass, which is manipulated to essentially produce energy and money for vampires. And this is his descent into the darkness of this story. Really, he initially enjoys the superpowers that he receives, and but then his inner conflict takes over, and he questions the this new reality that he discovers. Yeah.
There's a lot to unpackage with that. I know there's a lot to unpackage, but before we get into some of the controversies and some of the symbolism, I want to ask you how was the Fantasia Fest experience for you? Did you go to Montreal?
Well, I'm actually speaking to you from Venice Beach, California. I'm not
Right.
I'm not in Montreal yet, but and the
Oh,
screening,
you're gonna go.
yeah, the screening is the day after tomorrow.
Okay, I got it.
I'm really looking forward to it, and
Yeah.
I'm really grateful for to Fantasia for taking the film, because we've applied to a number of festivals that turned us down. I think
Yeah, like I
ba-
was thinking it would play in Moscow. Let's sort of transition to that. Like it's now playing in Moscow. So why isn't it playing in Moscow?
why didn't it play in Moscow? Because it
Yes.
was it was it was it was banned. It really, there's no censorship in Russia, as it's written in the Russian Constitution. There's no censorship, but they, of course, there is, and they basically pulled our so-called distribution permit, a week before the release of the film. And the film was booked in 1,800 screens by Sony. It was going to be a blockbuster release,
Mhm.
and the advertising campaign was full on for like a couple of months before that. I mean, the trail was playing in all the movie theaters, and then we had a press screening, and the next morning, the film was essentially banned. It was, pulled by the Ministry of Culture. Yeah.
Okay, so would you say having your movie banned by the Russian government in 2023 is a nuisance or a badge of honor?
That's a good question. Yeah. I'm still dealing with that concept. I'm trying to figure that out. Of course, I really, I mean, I made this film for Russia, and I think it's an important movie, an important story for the youth of Russia to see. And I think somebody in the Kremlin really felt that it was kind of dangerous for the system, and yeah, I guess it is more of a badge of honor, Michael.
I'm
I'll
sure it's both, right? Like I'm sure it when you heard it was getting pulled, I'm sure that was a nuisance.
it was
I'm
a
sure it's a bit
huge,
of both, but I can see why it's like Sweet Sweetback's badass song, rated X by an all white jury. It's kind of the
right.
same idea, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was no, it was a huge disappointment, of course. I mean, especially for all the people that worked on the film. There's hundreds and hundreds of people who worked on the film, a dozen CG studios from all over the world. I mean, everyone was looking forward to the premiere. And that didn't happen. So the premiere will take place the day after tomorrow in Montreal. So
There you
yeah.
go. We get it for ourselves. So but I guess it kind of proves your point as well. So let's unpackage it a little bit. Tell me what the vampires mean in the story.
Um Vampires are, what do they mean? I
Or what do they
guess
represent, let's say?
this is one of the things that attracted me to the story is the kind of the new twist on the vampire genre to begin with, because these vampires don't drink blood, they don't suck blood, they taste, it's enough for them to taste a drop, a micro drop of the victim's blood, to analyze that, and essentially um, uh, learn everything they want to know about that person. So it's about information. It's about rule through information, and I think that's one of the key concepts in the film, whereby humanity is being essentially um, manipulated and controlled by a group of vampires, which really represent the elite. And I
Mhm.
think it's really a global satire. It's not just about Russia,
Mm.
for me. I think it's, Russia is kind of this mirror that ultimately is, has to do with the entire planet that we live on, and the elites that are controlling our lives,
Yeah.
feeding on our energy,
Mhm.
and that's basically that. Those are the vampires. Yes, yeah, they're the
Oh,
vampires.
okay. So it's like it's everything, just like the 1%. It's not just like is it
Oh,
because I assume there is it is specifically to do with Russia, but you're saying it's what we all face, like even in Canada, right?
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's it's worldwide,
Oh,
and
okay.
there are vampires all over the place.
Yeah, yeah. I think I've met a couple. So
I'm sure.
you live
Yeah.
in Venice Beach, like you said. You've been in the States, but for a while. I don't know how long. I don't know how old you are, but you were born in Moscow, correct?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Moscow. When I was 14, I immigrated with my family to New York.
Ah, yeah,
Yeah, I went to film school in New York, and I started working while in film school. I started shooting commercials and did a lot of music videos.
yeah.
Moved to
I
L.
saw it. Yeah, and you made a documentary all about ads in Russia, right? That got a lot of good reviews.
Well, no, it wasn't a documentary. I did make a documentary about the Soviet sexual revolution.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, that was my first Russian project. And then I made a film called Generation P.
That's what
Which,
I'm thinking of. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that was actually based on a novel by the same writer that wrote Empire V. In fact, Empire V
Oh,
is almost, and Generation P was in Toronto, by the way, and went,
yeah.
yeah, went to a lot of festivals and had limited theatrical release in the States, and
Hmm.
it was a huge hit in Russia. It's a cult movie in Russia.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah, it was actually it's and so this was Empire V is by the same writer, Victor,
Mm.
who's uh, really
That's your
great.
guy, right?
That's the guy. Yeah, that's
Tell me about growing up in Moscow. What do you remember?
growing up in Moscow.
Yeah, what are some seminal memories?
Oh, well, listen, childhood memories are always great, aren't they?
You're right.
Yeah, but it was the Soviet Union, so it was
Yeah.
real. Yeah, it was still the Soviet Union. So in that sense, I was a young pioneer. I went to pioneer camps in the summer, and I had a real Soviet childhood. But I grew up in the center of Moscow, in probably somewhat privileged world.
Right, right. Well, Moscow, they do have like a functioning middle class to an extent, what I've heard. People drive Audis and like go to the movies and you know,
Absolutely, absolutely. And
yeah.
actually, one of the I really wanted, one of the, I think, characters in the film, from my point of view, is Moscow. I
Hmm.
really wanted to show a different Moscow than everyone has seen before, because Moscow has evolved in the last whatever 10 years.
Hmm.
really changed, and sort of, I think with, it became kind of this, the capital of this Empire V.
Right.
So I wanted to sort of like really show that new Moscow. I don't know if you noticed that in the film, but
Yeah. I did. I don't want to ruin it, but there's a beautiful shot of Moscow. It's like the last shot. I'm not going to say what's said or what happens,
yeah,
but
yeah.
that's a very nice shot.
Actually, that shot, Michael, this was a drone shot you're talking
I
about.
thought so. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think we would be giving much away by saying that. I did a
Right.
lot of drone shooting over Moscow, and no, we had like
Uh,
30 days of drone shooting in Moscow, where we broke a lot of rules and a lot of laws. And in fact, we flew over the Kremlin. That shot that
oh
you just,
wow.
yeah, we flew literally over the Kremlin. And that was something that we worked on for a couple of weeks. And my guys, which were the amazing drone operators, who essentially, of course, it's forbidden to fly over the Kremlin, and what they
Yeah, I
do,
assume so. Yeah.
they actually um, shoot you down. I mean, they
Hmm.
not just shoot you. It's an electronic thing where
Hmm.
they take over the drone, the control of the drone, and they land
Okay.
it, and it just flies away.
It's
We
gone.
we yeah. So for 2 weeks, they staked out the Kremlin and
Mm.
figured out when they turn on the electronic interference and when they turn it off. So we literally found that like hour during which we could fly over the Kremlin. So that's the shot you're describing. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
So I felt there were some visual similarities to Eyes Wide Shut, and I was wondering if there were other movies you got some thematic or visual inspiration from.
Well, first of all, Kubrick is my idol, of course, and
Oh yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah,
think he's
and
everybody's.
everybody's idol. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I agree. So yeah, I think this obviously that masked ball
Right.
it was already in the novel to begin with, so it was
Mm.
unavoidable to have that connection with Kubrick, with Eyes Wide Shut. But I think it's quite different in its from Eyes Wide Shut
Oh
in
yeah,
terms.
totally. It's just that one scene. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. But in terms of I love visually. I love Gaspar Noé films. There
Oh
was a
yeah, yeah. He's cool.
yeah, and there was quite a few, let's call them trips in the movie that
Yes.
are quite hallucinogenic, as you might have noticed. Yeah. And that was some that
Little
was a
Enter the Void, little
absolute
climax, whatever. Yeah.
absolute. I love the guy. Yeah, actually the studio that we worked with, this French studio Boof,
Okay.
did did all his films.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, we got to wrap it up. Victor, thanks so much for your time. What's next for you?
I might be doing yet another. I'm working on doing another film based on Pelevin's book. It'll be a trilogy.
Okay.
It's it's a novel called Snuff,
Oh
and
my God.
it actually deals with the war in Ukraine. He sort of predicted it. It's a sci-fi story, but it
Okay. We'll stay
yeah,
tuned to that. Maybe it'll get banned from Russia again, or maybe you won't try to do it. Maybe it'll come back to Fantasia.
it'll definitely get banned. That's for sure.
Oh
And
yes.
we get back to Fantasia. Thank you.
My pleasure. Have a nice day.